Welcome to this video where we'll show you how you can install Figaf on BTP Cloud Foundry, how to get started, how to set everything up. So first off, yes, we'll go through this together. There is a number of different steps that we need to do. Let's first look at the architecture that we want to achieve. So we have the integration suite here. And I guess the main focus when you're deploying this is to use it in conjunction with Integration Suite or Neo. And you can use this deployment option no matter where you have the SAP PI or Integration Suite system. It can be Neo or Cloud Foundry. This is just the runtime where we are running the Figaf tool. It has a Java runtime that is running in a Docker container. Then we have the Postgres database that is used as the data store. It has the ability to add iFlows, etc. to Git. We will cover that much later in the course. And then we will also connect it to our PI system using the Cloud Connector and set up everything regarding that. So the goal is to set up the BTP account. We have this guide, and I think this is the one we would be mainly focusing on to go through, to download and install the Cloud Foundry tools, create the sub account and entitlements, download an archive, configure it, and create the database. And this is the part that probably will take the longest time for you to run. Add user roles, etc. But let's get started. So the first thing is we go to this site and we download the Cloud Foundry runtime. And here you obviously need the one that suits your environment. And we run the installer. Yes. Anyone. Doesn't really matter, I guess, in most cases. Finished. And obviously, yeah, depending on what you have of rules, etc. Then you need to figure out where your CPI tenant is. And to do that, I will log on to our this one. You need to have your S-user login. Navigate to it, and then we have our the main one we would be using here. We have an account here. We are normally using Azure because it has some advantages compared to the other one. It's easier to set up. And the first thing you want to do when getting this is to look at the entitlements. Here in the entitlements, you need to have the runtime, Cloud Foundry runtime. If you do not have this, you go into Cloud Foundry. Here you search for runtime, and you find now this one is not here, but you would be able to select one of these other ones. We also need to have the Postgres. Postgres does both the storage and the standard, so runtime and container, and these are unlimited, so I guess you'll need to pay for it. If you do not have these options, you need to have them out in your application cockpit and be able to assign them there, and that obviously depends on which license of the SAP tool you have. Okay, so this is our cockpit. So the first thing is we need to, we don't need this one anymore, we will use this one, and here we will open a command prompt, cmd. The first, there is an archive down here, and let's take this first. We will download this and unzip it, open, extract all, BTP users, that's called. And that's maybe a strange name. Anyway, we can then go to this page, here in our command, cd. And then the first thing we need to do is we need to log into this. And the command here is cf I'm thinking sometimes you need to, we have seen that you need to use CF7, but you should then use CF login, and you can find this this URL up here to it. Then you log in with your email and your password. Just pause. So now we are logged in, and now we can select one of the spaces we have. So maybe up here in the Cloud Foundry we have some spaces. We have a dev and a development one. So I guess here in the development, what kind of services do we have here? We have this. Not sure why we have this. Anyway, we will use the dev space here. So in our Cloud Foundry here we'll select one, and now we're connected to this one. Then we have this one. We need to run the CF commands get to mains, and this there we are getting the CF commands or CF dev. So let's copy that one, and in this file folder we have the BTP users file here. There is a file called vars YAML, and we open this with our favorite editor. And here we can put in this landscape domains here. Your company, then this is the name of this application that you will get externally. So Figaf sounds a little training, so we'll just call it training. And then we can select the GitHub repository, and if we have Cloud Connector set up here. That is actually enough. Next up is we do have some commands that you can run to create the database, but this was for the trial, so the best way to do that, and these seems to be changing all the time and giving you a lot different details depending on what you do. So I would always create the Postgres service standard. Understand this will cost some cost, and then it needs to be called Figaf, and you can see the name here, Figaf-db. Oh, that's the space. The space would then need to be dev. We'll put everything into this. We will do next here. Here's what version we need to be using. We'll just be using the standard settings. We don't want the multi-zone one. And obviously, as you go along, you can scale this up and stuff like that. So now it is just to create this. And the database instance creation will take a little while for us to process. But anyway, we can go on, and we need to find the latest image of the tool. And we'll do it by going here. We can see that there's one now that is called BTP. It needs to be the BTP one, so we go back here. Docker image version, it needs to be this one. They could also be .3. Whatever. So it's the year, the month, and then .patch level we have here. Next up is in this, we need to have this. We can create the users that needs to be using this, and to do that we just run this command. This one is significantly faster. So if we look at the instances now, and we can see it here in the. Isn't this where we can see the instance? So now we can see here this has actually already been created. A word of advice when you're dealing with these instances is that you need to give users access to these spaces, so they will be able to maintain the data in here, and that's just giving them access. So that means that I can go in here and I can create on my user. We do have a user here that is called we have no roles assigned here. We can see now we're getting all of the ERT roles. They have been populated by this. We can also, in our role collections, we can see that these ERT roles exist, and we can create our own composite roles that combines these things to mean that you can do the things that you would be doing in your scenario. So let's see, that is just, it takes a little while for the database to be created. So let me just pause. So now the service has been created. We can view the parameters here, but we don't really need that, just so we can see what is going on. And you could use this if you wanted to create multiple instances with that. Anyway, now we are good to go, and we can go here back to the command here, and it says here push the service with cmd vars. So we go back here, say push, and then it will bundle all the artifacts together, create a new build of this solution, and push it into the application services. And this will take a little while, and here you would need to have enough memory for it to start. If you do not have, there are some workarounds, which would be that right now we can see in this specific space we now have 2 applications. They're almost taking up all our bandwidth, but if we run into some problems, anything like that, we can always just delete these ones. If we run this command push again, they would be deployed and activated in the same way. So this is the good thing. You can remove it and deploy it, and it is really easy to get started with these things. And it says here starting up, and this can take a little while for it to get going. We have 2 applications here. We have the router, which is a small Node.js application, and let's just have a look at that one first. Here we can see it says starting. You can always check the logs here, how it is starting up, what is going on. If we check the other app, which is the Figaf app, here we can see it is starting up with the Figaf logo. I guess we should move this around and boot it in the different way when it is running here, because I guess it is mirrored. And you can refresh here, getting data on it. And obviously here it does take a little longer to start up and get booted, but here you can follow the progress of this. And it will take a little while for it to come up and run. We can see the BTP mode here. So now it is actually up and running. So what you do is you go back to the router. The router is the main way that you would access this application. And to do that, we simply select here training. Then we can see we have some incompatible routes in our setup with our user management. And this most of the time happens if you have entered a wrong URL in some way. Let me check. This is a common error. Let me just check. So I got the problem fixed. The problem was we in the security config should add this command, and we'll put that into the help. We see it from time to time that you need to add this callback token URL, and then you need to add that into the security command, and then you need to run a CF update service with this JSON. I think you can also go in and create it, update it manually. Once you've done that, the system is up and running, and then you open the license page, you enter the license ID, and you should have received that in an email. Take this one, and here you get the license ID. And now we have synchronized. Now everything is working, and we got a proper connection to the backend system. And this is actually all you need if you wanted to run with the tool to manage normal scenarios. We would also add a PI agent in this setup, because that is also something that's a little different when you're using it in Cloud Foundry. If you do not need for migration, you can just skip here and go to the next part. One other thing you obviously need to remember is that the data is not persisted on the Docker image, so each time you deploy, you need to remember it, or you need to, nothing is saved there, so you do not get log files, you do not get any of these other artifacts. And and remember to save this directory somewhere that you and the team can work on these things, and be sure that they always have a current setup of these things. Okay, let's connect the BTP the PI system, and there is a good guide up here that says this is how to use PI system in BTP connectivity. So the first thing is we need to create a virtual system and connect our cloud connector to this CPI instance, or this instance. So I here need to go back to it, and I need to ensure that my user has, just use this one, has a cloud connector administrator. Probably overkill. Now I can go to my PI system, and I think on my cloud connector it is here, and I will add a new sub account. This is in so we will add a new sub account. This is in the region that you can see Netherlands. I guess this is EU20. Let's see here, EU20, Netherlands Azure. The sub account ID is then what we have here. The email, it will be my user. And the password is the password I have when I log into to my normal SAP account. There's probably some challenges if you want to use single sign-on. I think for one of the other commands we also found out you could use a SSO command in there. So now we have a new connectivity here, and if we check it here, it is this one. We can say connect. And now if we go back to our cockpit, we should then have a cloud connector running. No cloud connector running now. Okay. So we will edit this, Azure Netherlands. That's good. Try connect again. No active resource. So maybe we need to create a new resource. So we need to create an cloud to on-premise. We will do it here. We will create it as a PI system. We will create HTTP. We will SAP the local host of this and the port 50,000, and we will also just use that as the virtual one for this. No principal propagation, use virtual host. Check the connectivity. It is reachable, and then we need to add all path. We could probably limit this. We need to remember all path and subpath for this. And if we go to the overview, it's operational, it's connected. And if we go to the cloud connector, we can see it is now connected. Just to do a check, we can go to our destination. We can create a new destination called SAP PI. Destination URL is then HTTP. It's always HTTP. It is cloud connector on premise, and we'll press save. We can check the connectivity. We can see it's running. And if we go back to our cloud connector, we should in our monitor be able to see this. Sometimes we don't see these test requests. Maybe we can see some of the other ones. Okay, let's assume it's up and running. We are happy, and we can now go back to the Figaf tool, and we can follow the second step. We need to create these two command services here. These are fairly quick to create, so it is just paste them anyway. Then we need to go into the YAML manifest, and in here of our BTP users file, we need to uncomment these two ones so they have become active. And then we just need to run our push again. So I will delete my instances here in my space. So always, well, depending on your state and what you can do, always just delete them, because they need this connectivity going. And then it is CF push again to upload this new image with the latest information about what's going on. Figaf destination does not exist. So the training for application of Figaf app failed destination service Figaf dev. Name of this, so we have a Figaf destination here, and that one, didn't we create that one? So let's just see here if we, maybe it was my copy paste. Seems much better. So now it is starting up. So yeah, it matters what you're going to do. And let me just log in again. So now we have logged in again. We can go to create agent. We will select create PI agent. E74 Daniel. And then the host here is then the SAP serve 02 port. This is the, we don't need to mark the virtual one. This is if you do not want to use this as a setting here. We don't need all these ones. We can add the P4. We don't have access to the P4 port yet, so that does not really matter. And then it is just to show here. And now we can check the connectivity. So test connection. We can see everything's up and running. So that is how you would add the Figaf tool to fit the data on the PI system, and then the rest will be like once we have connected the PI system, doing all of the different things for setting up migrations, etc. I hope this has been useful. You liked it. So see you in the next video.